When you were younger, did you used to go to the ice cream truck?
Yes.
What was your favorite thing to get from the ice cream truck?
Okay, so I've been going to the ice cream truck probably till age 14. And I have to say, my favorite ice cream truck was an ice cream truck that I used to visit in California, in San Diego, California, to be specific. And he had like, not only did he have like the ice cream that's in the wrappers and stuff like that, the usual ones that we, with the fudge pops and the ones with the bubble gum at the bottom and all that type of stuff and the popsicles. But he also had like sundaes, and he would build like a sundae for you too. So yeah, sometimes I would get like, okay, sometimes I would get like a fudge sundae with nuts or in a hot fudge sundae, or I would get like a 2 scoops of cookies and cream ice cream.
You had this is good taste. I like it.
Mhm.
I mean, I wish that my ice cream person who came around, the ice cream man who came around, I wish he had the option. But no, it
Oh,
was just like a deformed Tweety bird or like
that old
SpongeBob.
school.
Yeah, I'm just like, come
Oh,
on. I don't want the. And then the eyes are all weird because it was like the bubble gum, but it was always hard, so you couldn't chew it. Oh my goodness. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Take a Space podcast. I am your host, Leah, and this week I am joined by Tamar, and we are in our business owner series. Welcome, Tamar.
thank you for having me.
Please tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so yes, my name is Tamar M, and the name of my company is BGA Biz Builder, BGA Biz Group, and I'm a biz builder. I help people start their company from the ground up with the foundational tools that it takes to search your company as a viable company.
So, you would be an awesome resource for anyone who's like, I think I have an idea that could make me money.
Absolutely, I'm great with ideas. I'm an idea person myself, so I'm great with taking in an idea and helping to generate it into something that you can see.
Oh, so how long have you been in business?
Well, I've been in business with BGA Biz Group for 2 years, but the skill set that I have, I probably have been developing for over 20 years.
And some people don't even realize that the skill set that you use is ones that you have been building for decades in almost
Hmm.
every position that you've been in. Is
Absolutely.
your background in business?
My background is in business, actually in the insurance business. I work for various insurance companies, probably from age 25 up until age, I want to say 30. No, yeah. uh, 40, maybe possibly. But anyways, I started working out at Blue Cross Blue Shield first. I also worked for State Farm, and then I went on to work for the Insurance Commissioner's Office for the state of Georgia. And what that is the governing body for all insurance companies that operate in the state of Georgia. And I worked there for about 10 years.
So you were part of the group that made the rules for insurances for insurance
Absolutely.
companies. Oh,
Created
okay.
rules and governed as well. And also prosecuted when the rules weren't followed.
See, that just sounds so wonderful.
Well, it's fun.
So we are in this renaissance of business ownership and entrepreneurship where people
Mhm.
are pursuing their passions and even ideas to find ways to make money from it, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of times what they're missing is a resource or someone who can kind of fill that gap between idea and salary or idea and commission or get to the money, like from the
Yeah.
idea to the
How do
money
I get the
essentially.
bag? Basically. Yeah.
Right. So how do I know if I have a good idea that could be a potential business venture?
The way that you know that you have a good idea to know that it could be a viable business venture is if it solves a problem.
Tell me about it.
Right. So let's think of a problem that we have. Give me a problem that you may have.
Ooh, I don't like to cook a lot. I mean, I like to cook a lot, but I don't like to cook every day.
Hmm.
So, like, but I know I need to eat healthy, and I don't want to keep going out to Zaxby's and In and Out and getting pizza every other day. So
Totally. So
that's a problem for me.
someone has already come up to a solution for that problem, meal prepping. So there's tons of meal prepping services that you could utilize that will cook healthy meals for you, package them and deliver them for you so that you don't really have to do much of anything. It takes the guesswork out of it. It's healthy and it's delicious as well. So problem and then solution. So anytime that you can think of a solution to a problem, you have a viable idea for a company.
You make it sound so simple.
It really is.
So,
It really is simple, and I think like the best things in life really are simple. And the way that you get to that is by asking questions. Or
mm,
if you don't want to ask questions, kind of like stalk people, see what they're talking about, see what their pain points are, and try to come up with a solution for that, a couple of solutions for it, and then put
okay.
your spin on it. Hmm.
So, okay, so I'm coming up with an idea. How many people, like how many people do I have to help get to that solution before I'm like, oh, this could be a business? Is
When
it
it
just one person? Is it a group? Is it a
It could
community?
be one person, but when it starts to become repetitive, then you know you got something. And also when it actually causes an effect, when you actually help somebody and they come back and say, "Hey, the advice you gave me, or what the system that you told me to use, or whatever solution you gave me actually worked for me," then you know that you have something there. But when like let's for let's say for example you get like a bunch of questions in your DM about business, that's how I kind of know like what digital products to put out. Like if I keep getting a question about email marketing, how do I do this with email? How do I do this, or how do I do that or the other? That's when I know, okay, that's a problem. I need to come up with a solution for that. And I just happen to have the skill set to add to make something that you can see and purchase that will actually help you.
Okay. So we have an idea and we know that it solves a problem.
Mhm.
So is it, so then would I come to you and say, hey Tamar, so I have a solution. It's still in the idea stages. At what point do I say, okay, I'm ready to sit down with you to figure out a business plan or what it is that I need to do?
As soon as you decide, as soon as you decide that, hey, this is a problem, I do have a solution for it, and I'm ready to build something around it to manifest it into something that helps people and also helps me as well.
Okay. And you know that a lot of people get caught up in the, well, I mean, I guess I'll do it and see if it works, like kind of throw it out there. But then you have other people who are just like, people are not going to want to listen to me. Nobody's going to care if I have the solution. How do we navigate those waters of fear and hesitation to actually say, hey Tamar, I need help. I have an idea, but I don't know how, I don't really feel like I'm comfortable in taking the next step.
Well, first and foremost, we have to remember and understand that there's nothing new under the sun. Okay.
Mhm.
So it's going to be natural to have that type of feeling that maybe your idea is mediocre or is not really going to serve on the level that you think it should in order for you to do something about it. That's
Right.
okay. But still do it anyway. It's a saying, it's a quote that I love, and I can't remember whose quote it is, but it goes, feel the fear and do it anyway. Okay.
Mm.
And that's the fear of doubt, the fear of thinking that you don't bring value, the fear of what they call imposter syndrome, all those things. So do it anyway.
And I'm starting to see a lot more posts because I didn't know what imposter syndrome was until I was talking with a friend of mine, and he was just like, "Yeah, that imposter syndrome is starting to creep in," and I was like, "What's that?"
Mhm.
And one thing that I have noticed is that people who aren't striving for anything don't experience imposter syndrome, and
Mhm.
so sometimes we have to figure out how the perspective that we're using, even if it's just in its infant stage. you
Yes.
haven't you haven't fed it yet, you haven't allowed other people to help you yet. It's just an idea, maybe scribbled down on a piece of paper, maybe it's still in your head. But like you said, even if it's mediocre right now, having other resources like your business can help to say, well, look, you could be servicing all these people with this solution. And I think that sometimes that is something that a lot of people um, miss out on because they don't think that their services like yours available. Like you would be an awesome resource for somebody who, even if they're just like, okay, but I'm not really sure, but I kind of want to pitch this to you. Do you think it's good? Do you think it works? How many clients do you have that kind of just come to you thinking they have nothing, but they really have a great idea that could launch into a great business?
Tons of them. Like I literally get tons of them. I literally get people that say exactly what you just expressed. I have the idea, but I don't know what the next step is after having the idea.
Mm,
So I always say the next step after having the idea is going to be mindset, because mindset is everything. So you have to
right,
believe that this is something that you could do. The next step is to start organizing. So get out a piece of paper, write it down, even if it's scrambled when you write it down on the paper. That's a start. Okay. That's the
right.
beginning. And the next step would be to get with someone like me that can kind of organize those and actually knows what to place along with your ideas so we can start bringing this into life.
Mm. So it sounds like you need to have a good support group around you.
Absolutely. Even if you are your only support group through your mindset.
Hmm.
Okay. But yeah, it's great to have a good support group around you. You might not have that to start because, a lot of times people don't support you until other people support you. So you might be your only support for a little while. It might just be you and God or whatever you think is a higher power, or just you and your mind for a while. So, but don't be afraid. Do it anyway.
So why do you think we get hung up on this idea that, man, my mom's not going to support me, so why would I do this? My sister's not going to be there, so why would I do this? Like my aunt even said that this was a stupid idea. Why do we put so much value on other people's validation when it wasn't their idea to begin with?
It's natural. All of us, even though all of us are the same essentially, and we
Hmm.
all spend a lot of time experiencing the world from the outside in. We're watching everyone else, we're watching people that are in different stages in their lives, and we have the tendency to, as they say, compare our day one to someone else's year five. Okay.
Right, right.
Now, in response to your mom or your auntie and your sister not supporting you, those people probably aren't your target audience anyway, so you
I
should.
mean, say it again for the people in the back. What?
Those people probably aren't the people that need the solution that you have anyway. So you don't really have to worry about them supporting you.
Mm.
Okay. Support yourself. Okay.
Absolutely. I feel that, especially as a business owner myself, it was really hard. I mean, I don't know where you were last year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really needed your services last year because,
Oh,
golly, there was a lot of this that we're talking about that was
was.
going on.
Was.
But but now, when there's so many people who are starting off, like there's some things that I've heard previously is, um, there's so many other people doing lip gloss, some people other doing makeup, some people doing podcasts. There's so many people who already do hair. There's people who already have 20 years doing interviews. There's people who already make clothes. There's people who already make dolls and these Barbies or shoes or these things. How do you help someone see past, like, look, there were people making makeup before Rihanna did it?
Okay. Again, you got to get past the fear. That's the first
Mhm.
thing. And then once you get past the fear, start incorporating some logic. So let's just say we're just marketing our services and products on Instagram alone.
Okay.
Okay. There's about 7 billion people just on Instagram alone. There's no way Fenty Beauty can service 7 billion people. Well, I mean, it could possibly in theory, but 7 billion people, out of those 7 billion people, they're going to have different tastes. They're going to have different desires, and no one company alone can meet all of the desires of 7 billion people. That's why
Mm.
the market is open as it is. And you should really just take that into consideration, that no one company is going to be. That's why we have a Walmart, and we got a Target, and we got an Amazon, and we got all those things. So just alone on Instagram is 7 billion people, and there's people that are at different stages. They don't have any provocations about supporting a business that's just starting out, because they may just be starting out.
Right,
You know?
right. So as we get over the fear, and now
No
we
shade, Fenty Beauty. I love
really.
Fenty Beauty. Love Rihanna. I got my heat lip gloss right here. Thank you very much.
No, Fenty is great. I love Fenty. I
I
use
love
them. I used their foundation for the first time like 6 months ago, and I was like, oh, I need this. I need to add this to my repertoire. I need this. This is great.
award-winning product line.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So after we get our mindset, because I feel like we get the idea, and then now it's up to our mind and body to kind of catch up to the idea that that I don't want to say this. We need our mind and body to really catch up to the idea, because the idea is all of all of what it can be, right? It's a blank canvas. It could be so many different things, and it's up to us to kind of shape it and where it's going to go, right? So whether you are, like you said, listening to God or whatever your higher power is, and you feel called to do this thing, it's up to you to reach out for the right resources to make this thing happen. So let's say our mindset is in check. We're like, yes, we're doing this. Now we have to network. Is networking necessary?
Networking will always be necessary. You cannot build anything alone. You cannot.
Mm,
I mean, you can come up with the idea alone, but at some point in time, you're going to have to incorporate other people to pour into your idea, to support your idea, if you're actually doing this to build a business. Now, if this is a hobby, then maybe not. But if you're actually trying to build a business, yes, at some point in time, you are going to have to network. Do I seem like an introvert to you?
no, not during this
I
conversation.
totally am. I am 100% an introvert. But I get past that because I understand that if I want my business to be successful, if
Mhm.
I want my business to grow, there are some things that I have to do to step outside of my comfort zone. And networking is one of those things.
But how do you measure the success of a network? Because and I hear it all the time, and I tell people about networking because, first of all, I wouldn't have the job that I have now if I didn't network. But so I can attest, networking is a great thing. But if I'm speaking as a person who is just starting out in this business or just starting out in their business, whatever industry they're in, some people may not feel that networking is a part of their journey. Like, oh, that's not a part of my testimony. I don't need to network.
Mhm.
So how do we measure the success? And maybe it's um maybe it's adjusting the expectations of networking. So how can we make sure that our expectations are where they need to be when attending networking events or even reaching out to people just like I did with you over social media?
So, in regards to measuring success, I really think that it should be a shift to measuring value. Like the saying goes, you never really lose. It's always a lesson.
Hmm.
Okay. So if you attend a networking event or you network with somebody, you have some type of interaction with somebody, you don't think that it went well, that's still a lesson. There's still value in that because you can take some takeaways from that and say, well, I might do this differently next time, or I might say this differently next time, or I might try to network with this type of person next
Right.
time. So it's
Right.
value in all of it.
So how can a person just starting off, hey, for those of you who have networking events coming up and this is your first time outside since being in quarantine the last 35 years or however long quarantine has been.
It's been a long time.
What are some networking tips that you can offer?
Um, go to the networking events. When you see one, you're like, gee, I'd like to go to that, but I don't have anyone to go with, or I this or I that. Go
Hmm.
anyway. Just go. Just go. You never know who you'll run into. You never know who you'll meet. So that's one tip. Another one is we always tend to want to network up, meaning we want to network
Yes.
with, someone that's at a high. Don't be afraid to network linearly, to network with the people that are on your level or may not be on your level yet. Don't be afraid to network. Everyone has a certain level of value that they can bring. You shouldn't discount that because they aren't at a certain level that you think is the mated level as of yet. So that's another tip.
Why
Mhm.
do people in your opinion, 'cause I'm not assuming that you study sociology, but why do you feel in business that people always want to talk to the Jeff Bezos or the Mark Rubens and or I forgot the lady's name on QVC, but why do you think they want to go straight to those people instead of networking where they are?
It's one, it's only natural, and two, that they're looking at the they're looking at the outcome as opposed to looking at the journey. Okay,
Hmm.
so you got to kind of like look at where you're going and enjoy that also, instead of just reaching for the whatever the outcome is that you're anticipating. Okay, so you see yourself like on that level. Of course you want to reach out to somebody that's a bit higher, because you strive to be on that level at some point. This is what you're aiming towards, this is what you're working towards. And it
Right.
also would be a great rush of I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. It would be like a kind of like a boost, like an ego boost, if those people were to actually network back with you. That would be great, but it's not always viable.
So it's
Okay,
like that validation from peers who
exactly.
are
It
okay.
is, it's a validation thing.
Mm,
And you got to get away from that validation thing, because validation, just like an emotion or just like so many other things in our life, are fleeting. You
mm-hmm.
know, it may come and go. It may not even be honest. Okay.
Sure.
And it's not something that you should look towards to carry you through this journey, because this is not for the faint of heart. And if you are in this and built to last, then your strength has to come from something other than validation from outside sources. It does need to come from within.
So in networking, sometimes you feel a person can feel like they don't have, oh snap, I don't have business cards, or maybe my site isn't where it needs to be, or maybe I'm just unprepared. So how prepared should a person be when entering the scene?
The thing is, you're always preparing. I don't think that my stuff is up to par. Someone else might come in and be like, "Oh, look at this. This is excellent. This is." I'm revamping all of my stuff right now,
Mhm.
and I'm only 2 years in, so I'm not. I haven't been doing this 5 years. I haven't been doing this 10 years, but this is not my first day either.
Right.
Okay. So I am still improving myself. And I think that even at the 5 and 10 year mark, all those other companies that are where we want to be, they're still improving too. We see rebranding and refurbishing and all kinds of, sorry for cursing, new new stuff. I'm sorry, with different companies all the time. Don't you see
Mm,
that all the time? Okay,
yes.
so we're always improving. So yeah,
So as we are thinking about business, going into business, creating that idea that is going to be a solution for a community or the avatar that they are intending to serve, it's more about the journey as opposed to clout chasing for the 10-year look, right?
yeah,
And but when we how do I want to ask that question? It can be frustrating though. And I think that that's why it's important to network and have the right group around you so that you can keep that perspective. Like you seem very level headed and very realistic. Like, yes, this could absolutely be a multi billion dollar business. However, right now, this is where I'm at. And while I intend to go further, I'm not going to put myself down because I don't look like XYZ person.
absolutely.
Like, no, I'm not hosting master classes like Oprah right now, but it could be. It could be, but right now I can service my community as my community approaches, you know?
It's
So,
demeaning to be that way to yourself, and it's unfortunate that some people can't get out of that state of mind.
mm,
But essentially, we all are the same. At the core, we want to be happy, we want to be successful, we want certain things, and it's okay that you are not looking like someone's year 10, but remember that regardless of if you're going to let that mindset take over you or not, the time is going to pass anyway.
yeah.
So either you it's like, you're going to decide to do it or you're going to decide to not. So while you're trying to get towards that 10-year mark, just be working toward, take small steps every day towards the big goal.
I like that because you have to embrace the ugly. Like,
Got to. The
whether,
frustration, you're going to be frustrated. You're
yes.
going to be frustrated. You're going to be upset. You're going to be have days like I should just wrap it up and just quit all today. I'm done. You're going to have that. You're going to have days where you're depressed where you don't even want to get out of bed. I
Right.
probably when I first started, I probably spent like 2 months taking depression naps.
Mm.
I'm gonna be honest. I took probably spent 2 months where I took depression naps, like because of everything, the climate, everything that was going on, and I had some personal things going on as well. And it was several times where I was like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna focus on my job. Um, Everyone's good with what they're doing. They don't need my services. But every time I would get like that, somehow I would bring myself out of it mentally. And then also God would send somebody or the universe would send somebody that actually needed my services or actually needed my help, and I would actually help them and they would actually have a result that they were totally happy with, so much so that they a lot of my people are still with me. Like even my very first client that I had when I first started out, probably like and was like a month in, she still comes to me and has me do stuff like that, do stuff for her and for her business. So you know, you gotta have a little faith. You gotta have a little faith.
And because I feel like you're telling my story right now. Because
Because our stories are
absolutely,
the same. We're the same.
yes.
Your story is my story. My story is her story. Her story is all of us are the same.
Oh, and it's so, but it's so frustrating when you're in the thick of it and you're just like, you know what? I'm gonna pack it in. Like I'm spending all this money on this website and these tools and technology and this and that. I've been networking with people, and then, but at the core of it, I really had to ask myself, are you really trying? Or are you just doing stuff? Are you really trying or are
Mm-hmm.
you just doing stuff?
Yeah.
And because I mean, depression naps, my thing. Okay. That is my jam. And so I was just like, absolutely. No, I don't, I'm overwhelmed. I'm gonna take a nap. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna do this. No, I don't want to. No, I'm
But
gonna
we
take
both know
a nap.
when we get to that like that 10th depression nap, and we're like, okay, I need to get some work done.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So we
But
can't
just,
let it overtake us. Have your depression naps,
yes, take the break when
but
you need it.
you can't depression nap indefinitely.
Right.
And at some point snap out of it and get some damn work done, even if even if it's just you posting one post on social media for the day and that's all you can do that and pat yourself and be happy that you did that, because sometimes that's what it was for me. Like all I could do was get up and just post something and I would be happy. That was like an accomplishment for me.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so small steps to the big goal.
And I was talking with another podcaster, and it was about, microtasking your way to success.
Yes.
And it can absolutely help you to do that. But I mean, but like you said, the tasks that I had were when I was like, man, nobody wants to hear me talk. I recently, even in I was in a Uber or Lyft or whatever, a ride share service, and this guy was asking me what I did, and I was just like, initially I was like, oh, I work in finance. He was like, oh, so what do you do in finance? And I was like, okay, well, I work in finance, but I coach people how to people lead,
There you
and
go. That's what you
it
do.
was just like,
Mm-hmm.
huh. And he was like, well, what does that mean? And just talking to him about what it means to be more self-aware and learning how to communicate with people. And then we got into a conversation about him moving. And I was like, yeah, but when you move, you have to take you with you. And just in that conversation, I was like, that came out of
Mm-hmm.
me.
Yeah.
Maybe I do have
I'm gonna
something to
really write that
say.
down. I need to write that
Maybe.
down. I'm serious. That's a good one.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize, they're like, you can move all over the country, which I've moved quite a bit, but one thing is that's constant is I take me with me wherever I go. Like it's just I can't Can't bring my dad, can't bring my mom, my sisters, my brothers, my nieces and nephews. Is me. I take me with me wherever I go. So
That's
in his
powerful.
situation, he was just talking about, um, oh, if I leave this area, then when I go to this new area, I'll have different people around me. The culture may be different, but you're going to attract those same people with the same mindset and the same attitude.
Right.
So in business, especially when it's something new, because what I'm seeing is it's a lot of not just young people, but a lot of first time business owners.
Yeah.
And when you are a first time business owner and you're serious about your business, you probably are not surrounded by other business owners.
Not yet.
So,
Right. Not the.
right
Mm-hmm.
at the start of it, when it's an idea, that's why, mom, auntie, uncle, sister didn't support you, because they're like, no, just keep collecting a check, keep going to work. That's sure money. Do that thing. Don't take a chance on yourself. Just keep going to work, because then at least you get a steady paycheck. So,
I have a love hate thing with that. Of course, keep your job if that's what you want to do. If you have a great job and that's, you feel like you're going to excel there and there's room for growth, stay there, of course.
mhm,
But if you are in the area that I was in where I felt like my skill set was being taken advantage of, and there
mm,
was going to be absolutely no opportunity or room for growth for me, I had a problem with that. I had a problem with getting up early in the morning to take an hour commute to some place where I can tell in the environment the people really didn't like me, they didn't value me, but they just wanted to use me. And I would
mm,
sit there and say, like, how many this I was like, this is not my life. This is not my life. I'm not going to live my life sitting in this god awful traffic for an hour to and from work every day to go sit someplace 8 hours with people who do not value me. It's just not going to happen. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to change it. I know that I have to pay for my life because we live on earth. We have to pay rent. We have to pay bills. We got to feed the people.
right,
You know?
right,
But I knew that something had to give and eventually that it would. And I didn't, and I'm not, I didn't do it traditionally. Like I didn't like work up to it. I got fed up like a lot of people do and stepped out on what they say is faith. I had like a plan in my mind, like this is what I'm going to do. I even drove Lyft for a little while. Like one week I was fed up with my job. I had a great paying job, but like towards the time when I knew that I was going to have to get the hell out of there, like I had developed a left eye twitch. Like my left eyelid would literally twitch, and it would just be at just the slightest hint of workplace drama or some type of
mm,
pressure, and it was triggered by that. And I was like, this is being triggered by this. This is not because I'm dehydrated or there's something in my eye. This is a direct effect of these people in this environment, and I got to go. Okay. So I did in my mind the math, like this is what I have to do, to drive Lyft to kind of sustain, my lifestyle. And I had the idea, but when I actually got out there and I did it, I was like, this is not going to sustain me for, you know, it's not going to sustain me the way that I needed to.
mm.
It wasn't given what it was supposed to give when I had, came up with it in my mind. But, and I'm not saying just like quit your job and just like leap out on faith. If at all possible, have a plan, have a strategy, and go off of that because it's easy to work off of something that you could see and that you could touch. But
Right.
I did leap out on faith. I did believe in myself, and I did believe that even though I don't have it all together right now, some way, somehow, it's going to come together for me. And not magically, but lovingly, the universe and God did provide for me at the last minute. A lot of times, to the point where I was able to sustain myself with my skill set and what I obviously had a calling for. So, and the value that I bring as a person, and all those 20 years of skill set that I spent building at those corporations, working for those people, building those people up, all the savvy that I created and built,
Mm-hmm.
just from doing that and being in that environment, the thick skin that I developed from being in that environment, all of that stuff was a bridge for me to get where I am right now. And I'm thankful for it.
So I want to, because your story is a beautiful one, and there are so many similar stories to it, but I think especially in our community, it's unique to go from having to be this avatar in corporate to now us owning our own business.
Mhm.
So how how were you in the corporate world? I'll ask that first. So how were you in the corporate world? What was your avatar? Were you yourself, or did you have to be like the Eurocentric agreeable person?
I was myself to a fault, but I felt like I could be myself because I was one of those super players on the team. Like
Hmm.
when I did a job, like it was guaranteed to be excellence. I was going to do it right, and I probably was going to get some praise for it. Okay.
Oh,
So I was
that
really
was your entire career, like your entire 15 years there, or?
any job that I ever worked,
Oh,
I,
okay.
you know, I may have just started out like as like for example, I'll give you the job with the insurance commissioner's office. So the insurance commissioner, the safety fire commissioner, that's an elected official. So I'm working for a government official. I applied for the job and I came in as just a clerk. So I was moving boxes and filing files and all that type of stuff and scanning stuff. And when I came there, the lady told me, well, you'll probably just be here um, with it was September. She said, you'll probably just be here until December while we have you filling in, because this person is out, blah, 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 blah. I never accept. It's almost like didn't even say that to me because I wanted to be there. I wanted this plush government job. And even though I was only temporary, I was only a clerk, I wanted to be there. So it's almost like she never said that to me because I never subscribed to that.
Hmm.
So I got in there and I was the best damn clerk that I could be. I was the best clerk that I could be to the point where the safety fire marshal, he was like, have they offered you? And he didn't have to because I'm this little young black girl. He didn't have to. And this is an old white haired man with just a little patch of hair. But he liked me. He liked how I was. And everyone, they would always have they offered you a permanent position as of yet. He didn't have to have
Right.
those conversations with me.
Right.
The chief of police that we work for in there, he was always pushing for me to get, because he saw that even though this girl is just doing this clerk job, she's doing the best damn clerk job. She's making the she got this stay thinging like it's supposed to be thinging, and I was happy to be there and I was happy to excel. So at some point in time, they had a position for an investigator come up. And so I'm just a clerk now. And so I did a bit of research of what it would entail being an investigator.
Hmm.
And then the director of the investigative department, like I would see her all the time. She was a very fearsome woman. People was shaking their boots when they heard her coming. But I look at myself as a formidable opponent myself. I really just always have, and I'm thankful for that. So I'm not, even though I'm an introvert, I'm not afraid. Okay,
Mm.
I'm not afraid to market or assert myself. So I saw her in the hallway one day, and I just started a conversation with her, and she was like, "Okay, well, what do you do?" And I was like, "Well, I'm a clerk." She was like, "Well, come up into my office and come see me." And I came to see her, and she was like, okay, go apply for the position. And so I applied for the position. I knew like tons of other people in the office were applying for the position. So I didn't not think that I was going to get it, but I didn't put too much into it. Like, if I don't get this, is going to be the end of the world.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I applied for the position, and then like a month passed, and then she came downstairs and with some people, and she was like, okay, like just talking to me. And she was like, okay, well, let me help me or something like that. Come see me, like blah 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 this day. So I came up to her office and I interviewed. I didn't know I was coming up there for an interview, so I went up there for an interview. interview with her, I had already done like tons of research. So like when she asked me questions, I had prepared myself like to answer these questions, and she was just like, okay, like where did you come from? Like, and I think I was like, what year was that's probably like, how old was I? Maybe like 26, 27.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a probably 60, 70-year old old white blonde lady that I'm talking to, and she was like who are you? And I told her like what I was getting paid. She was like, oh, they paying you something crazy. Like, so long story short, at the end of that meeting, she was like, you just negotiated yourself like a $27,000 raise. And I was like, yes, I did. That's all I could say was yes, I did. You know, but I'm sorry, I really just went on a tangent there. I don't even remember what your original question was.
No, that's fine
Yeah.
because I was asking, what if you had different avatars, what was your avatar
Okay.
at in your corporate position versus who you are at in your business?
So my avatar would have been, yes, being myself, but also believing in myself too. So,
Mm,
and that could be at a fault. Like a lot of people don't like for you to believe in yourself.
that's
You
true,
know, people have a problem with that. People
right?
are threatened by you believing in yourself and in your abilities. So
Right,
that was my avatar. And though it did get me in a lot of trouble, I would not have changed it for the world because I was true to myself. And also, how unfortunate would it have been to downplay myself for these people that I don't even know anymore?
I mean, and it set you up for success in so many ways. So now that you're able to negotiate your own salary, your own pay, your own commission that you get for helping so many people who need business resources, how does that play into how does who you are now play into you being a business owner? Is it still the same Tamar? Are you coming with the same fierceness, the same assurance of who you are?
Yeah, but naturally, like everyone else, I have my off days where I'm like, but I think that's with everybody. I think even Beyonce probably has her off days where she's feeling like, hey, I'm not doing as much as I could have. I think that everyone has that, and I think that that's naturally. But one thing that we as women share, a lot of us, especially as Black women, share is that we're fighters. I'm a
Hmm.
fighter, and not only am I a fighter, I'm an advocate for people. I not only fight for myself, I will fight for the next person as well because I want to see us win. I kind of see you winning as me winning, and then especially if I had a hand in that. So not only am I going to fight for you to help you win, this is a relationship that we have now. Okay.
Right.
So the more wins that you have is the more wins that I have as well.
One of the last points that I know that you wanted to talk about was how do we treat our business as a business and not as a hobby?
Okay. So we're treating our business as a business and not as a hobby by just starting out with the foundational things. Like we have to have order. There must be order in the court. We have to, of
Absolutely.
course, register our companies. We have to make our companies official. We have to have some type of organization to what it is that we're doing. We can't just randomly do stuff. It needs to be a plan, a strategy, and some order to what it is that we have going on. I usually go through the steps of starting a company, like the company name, how you come up with the company name, the psychology behind the company name, an EIN number, and I have the whole spiel for that. But yeah, running our business as a business is essential to the difference in it just being a hobby and being something that's viable, that's going to be built to last. And you want it to be built to last, so we're going to do things right up in here.
Absolutely. You have to
Mhm.
have a solid foundation
Totally.
if you want to build on it at least.
Yeah. Just like when you're building a house, you start with the foundation first and then you
Hmm.
build up. If you do not start with a solid foundation, then you not only are not going to have a viable home after a while, you're going to have problems throughout the duration of being in that building. So,
Absolutely.
mhm. First
Absolutely.
things first.
So I ask everyone this, and I want to know from you, how do you advocate for yourself and your community through your business?
Well, my community is and always will be Black women that look like myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I advocate for myself by them being for my community, for as them being my niche. These are the people that when I'm talking to someone and when I'm making like a social media post or when I have a product in mind, it's with me and those that look like me in mind in their businesses. Like, how can I serve them? How can I bring value? And I also like spend a lot of time on social media like everyone else does. Just yesterday, I saw a young lady. Uh, she posted, and this was on a gossip blog. So she posted a video of her mom had put a lock on a refrigerator door.
Mm.
Then I scroll down in the comments and they say, yeah, it's really sad. If you go on her TikTok, her mom abuses her and she does stuff like that. And I was like, just how freaking unfortunate. So I go look on her page and I see, oh, you know, started you a little lash company, a little lip gloss company. Good for you. You know, you enterprise and you want to make your own money. So I want to help you, you know. So I reached out to this young lady and I said, okay, you know, I see that you started a new little biz. Congratulations. I know what you need. I know, you know, what plan you need to have. And I have a bit of a strategy for you. If you want my help, reach back out, no charge. So
Mm.
that's how I advocate, by being a value for people that need me and just an advocate. Yeah.
That's great. Like that, and I think we need more collaborations like that. Not you giving away your services for free, but being able to collaborate with other people, especially those who are looking to build, and they may not know, those who want the services, but those who may not know which direction to take. Just being able to say, well, I may need a resource or two. Can I just put you on retainer
It's
so I
bigger.
can call
It's
you?
bigger than the business for me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my clients and the
Mm-hmm.
people who work with me, I'm always like, well, after I've processed their order, they have all their deliverables. Like I said, this is a relationship. So yeah, so well after they have their deliverables, I'm sending them stuff, resources, ideas, tips. This is what you need to do. Or yeah, plug it up. I look at their stuff and I audit it and say, okay, you need to switch this, you need to change that. So that's how I'm advocating, is by actually like helping these women to win well after my job is actually done. Because we need to get as much of us out there, not only so that we're doing it for ourselves, so we're showing our daughters and our children that it's another way, and then all the people that are out there that were in the position where I was undervalued. And I can't even say mistreated. I was being abused at that
Mm.
job, undervalued, abused. That is another way. You don't have to spend your life. Daughter's silly. You don't have to spend your life, you know, or your days like, look, this, I know I got to pay for my life, but something's got to give. It is another way. Our parents and grandparents, they were brought up in a completely different time and a completely different paradigm with a completely different mindset. It's a different way than what they were taught, and it's a different way than what we were taught too. And the proof is in the pudding. It's thousands of us that are becoming multimillionaires. This is not a myth. This is not a unicorn. You know, thousands of us are touching millions just from social media, just from companies that we came up with that solve a solution.
Right,
And
right,
essentially all of us are the same. So if she could do it, I could do it. All of us can.
right.
You gotta want it.
And thank you so much for talking with me today, because I know a lot of people get stuck and just like, man, I have an idea, but like, oh, is it too much work? Where do I start? Can I get some help? And you're a great resource. You're a great person who is able to, and who's able and willing to help those of us who really need it. And even if it is just pointing to different resources, like you're able to assist with that. So I absolutely appreciate that.
Thank you.
This is your time to plug any and everything that you would like to plug. Tell the people about your business, tell the people about your successes, opportunities you have to serve them or to work with them, any people who are looking for your help. Plug away.
Well, I feel like I plugged myself this entire interview. I'll just say again, my name is Tamar M. The name of my company is BGA Biz Group, and I'm a biz builder. That means that I will help you build your business from the idea all the way up, starting with the foundational tools and then far, far beyond that as well. So if you have an idea, if you have a business or industry that you're interested in, and you know that this is something that you want to do and you're ready to get started, please feel free to get in contact with me. I would be happy to help you.
And your socials?
My socials are for Instagram, Digital Design Tamar, and that's DIGITALDESIGN It's my first name, so Digital Design Tamar. I don't usually frequent Facebook as much. I really just have them linked together, but I'm Tamar Simone on Facebook if you want to find me there. Um, yeah, I have a digital business card that I would have wanted to give so people could just scan it in.
Oh, okay. Do you have a website?
Yeah, my website is bgabizgroup.com. My business phone number, if you want to send me a text, is 678-861-8316. My email address is ID, that's id for the ego, bgabizgroup.com.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Tamar. I appreciate having this conversation with you. Y'all, please make sure you go follow Tamar. Any resources that you may need, please reach out. Even if you feel like, oh, this may be outside of, listen, it couldn't hurt. Just reach out and ask a
It's
question.
absolutely not going to
Yes. So make sure you check out the website, send an email or a text message to her business line, or even follow her on Instagram like I did. I just made sure that I knew who she was and reached out to her. So just reach out, ask your questions, and then make sure to follow us at Take Up Space Podcast. That's Take Up Space POD on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure you follow us on YouTube as well under Champions of Discourse. And any ideas that you may have, they could turn into great businesses. So why not just ask the question? It's okay to inquire. Just do that. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you through the next episodes that we have for our business series. Thank you so much to Tamar again. This has
Thank you,
been
Leah.
a really, really great conversation. Y'all have a great one.
Thank you.
Bye.